they think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles. Body work,
Welcome to Body Work. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Body Work Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Man, I'm back. I am back and it feels good, man. It really does. Sometimes I be feeling like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing when I'm not live and making videos. But I believe that this was the situation that's going on right now is being looked at in so many different ways. And I figured that I need to actually put out my take on my perspective. And one thing it is online, man, when it comes to online and being online and putting out information, I would have to say that it's very, very annoying when you come across people who like haughty or high-minded. I do realize that in today's day and time, just like it don't care what genre it is, if it's battle rap, if it's basketball, if it's R&B, if it's politics, it doesn't matter. Gaslighting is real. You know, high school games, who can be the most popular, and all those things are real. And one of the things that I like to believe is that one of the things that I guess grounds me is I try not to be anybody different everywhere I go. So the same mic you get, you're gonna get the same mic online that you would get at work, that you would get if we were somewhere at a store or on vacation. It's like I don't have to put on these different hats and I don't have to wear all these different masks. I'm just gonna be me. And one of the things about that is just keeping it 100. 10 times 10, no more, no less, on everything that you do. Do that mean you perfect? Nope. I'm definitely not. I definitely make mistakes. I'm a perfectionist of sorts, but I definitely make mistakes. And I think right now we're in a day and time right now where if you are a person that stands on the truth, that stands on factual information, that can separate two things at the same time, and you're willing to voice that opinion, you're going to get accused of being all kind of things. Oh, you think you know all of it? No. I know what happened last week. I know what happened last month. I know what happened last year, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, and the year before that. As you watch this sport, that's what I've been doing. This sport been keeping me out of trouble. This sport has got me through dark times. Like, this sport has been, it graduated from just being a hobby. And even if it's not that lucrative, even if the big bucks haven't come, if they ever will, I'm not sure. One thing is not gonna change. That I'm gonna stand on it. It don't matter who it is. And the only reason why I gotta bring up this and give you this preface, is because gaslighting is real, man. I know it's becoming cliche, but it's real. It's a real thing. Like there are real situations that's happening like every day, all time. This is not just subject to people having dialogue online about boxing. That's not just subjugated to people that's just chatting under somebody's comments or under somebody's live. It's not just that. It's everywhere. It's in the workplace. We definitely see it on the screen when people running for offices and stuff like that. You definitely get it in some of the doctor's office when, you know, some of the things that they tell you what to do and all that. And most of the time it's stuff that the doctor don't need to tell you. I don't know why people act so crazy. Like the doctor, the first one to tell them, oh man, maybe you have to go lighten up on your calorie intake. Your caloric intake. The doctor had to tell you that. It happens, man. So I gotta do the curriculum thing. This wouldn't be my channel in the manner of how I like to run and how I like to operate if I didn't do it. There's a couple things in here that I gotta go over. And before I get into it, because this is that article that I'm touching back up on, because I stopped doing the lives for a little while and started doing regular videos. Because this is, it's the salmon. You always the salmon swimming upstream. You always the salmon swimming upstream with this information that you're pushing. Because people need to feel like they're a part of something. They need to be in total agreement. This is the bandwagon area. This is the bandwagon era. Right now, it's either one dude from up there or one dude from out there. And it's either one. Pick a side. You know what I'm saying? We just in the bandwagon era. And a lot of people are just jumping on the bandwagon to stay afloat and to, stamp or approve things that are popular opinion. Things that if you go against, you're going to be ostracized. Things that if you tell the truth about, you're going to be ostracized. It's going on. But before I get into what are the signs in the little portion of it today I'm going to go over, before I get into that, let's just look at this. Let's look at this real quick, because last time I said, man, you might want to go out on your own and look up this one, because since I'm still a working man, I'm a 9-to-5. Those not my hours, but hey, I still gotta go in the work. I go in the sweat from my labor, the toils, the aches and the pains, the shoulders, all that. I'm still a working man. So I was going to avoid this, but I'm like, man, most people ain't gonna do their homework. But before I get into the signs, go back into this signs and the aspect of it today, let's go over what that one is. Workplace gaslighting. According to a 2023 article, workplace gaslighting is a process that occurs in a work environment from someone in a position of power, such as a supervisor, toward a subordinate. The authors suggest workplace gaslighting is people-oriented and may consist of trivialization, when a leader tries to undermine their subordinates' fears, realities, or perspectives, and affliction, when a leader directs negative emotions or pain into their subordinate. Gaslighting can also occur within a company, organization, or institution, such as a hospital. That's crazy. For example, they may portray Whistleblowers who report problems as irrational or incompetent or deceive employees about their rights. Man, so online, right? That's what it really is. Like, you online, right? If you just keep it a buck, no matter who's coming across the board, if somebody tells something say something that ain't right, you be like, nah, that's not right, because it's this. Because, you know, when people regurgitate things that they've heard and buy into people's personalities and they regurgitate and spit it, if you just say, nope, that's not right, it's this. Nope, that's not really that's not what y'all was saying last week. That's not what y'all was saying last week. That's not what y'all was saying when it came to this boxer. That's not what y'all was saying. You online, you're gonna be considered a whistleblower. So if you want to draw the correlation, if you at a job and you witness some of these things, then you get online and you want to talk. I don't care if it's about women, politics, drugs, sex, you know, manual labor. It doesn't matter. If you're the one that's going to keep it a buck and be the whistleblower, you're going to be gaslit. Almost every day somebody going to be trying to tell you, oh, you tripping. But what are the signs, Mike? What are the signs of gaslighting? People who experience gaslighting can find it difficult to recognize the signs. Like, some of y'all are finding it very hard to recognize when somebody's doing it. It's right there in front of your face. They may trust the abusive person or begin to believe they are at fault in some way. For example, they may become convinced they have a poor memory or oversensitive or have misinterpreted a situation. No, you might have misunderstood what I was saying, brother. However, if a person often feels unsure, second guesses themselves, or relies on someone else to confirm their memories or help them make simple decisions, this may be due to gaslighting. And it goes over some of the signs: feeling uncertain of their perceptions, frequently questioning if they are remembering things correctly, believing they are irrational or crazy, feeling incompetent, unconfident, or worthless, constantly apologizing to the abusive person, defending the abusive person's behavior to others, becoming withdrawn or isolated from others. Gaslighting may contribute to anxiety, depression, and psychological trauma, especially if it is part of a wider pattern of abuse. It's part of a wider pattern of abuse, man. And boxing fans, ain't you sick and tired of the boxing fan? One that just stick through it, and it's just certain things, there's certain fights, there's certain stuff that you just want to see. That's the wider pattern of abuse, when everybody's telling you and trying to justify why those things can't happen and what it really is, and it's right in front of your face because somebody want to be affiliated, they want to feel popular, they want to be down. These are some of the methods right here. Keep a diary, talk to someone trustworthy, which is very rare, taking pictures, keeping voice memos, those are just things, voice notes, stuff like that. Causes of gaslighting behavior. Gaslighting is a behavior that people learn by watching others. You know, they always say this monkey see, or this monkey do. They be, you know, when people be saying that monkey stuff, monkey see, monkey do. You know, when they say that, that's a form of gaslighting. Just by using that type of terminology, that's gaslighting. But that's what they seeing other people do and say. A person who uses this tactic may have learned it is an effective way of obtaining what they want or controlling people. You've seen this. This been happening as people ever since grade school, man. You can recognize that. They may feel entitled to have things their way, or that the wants and needs of others do not matter. Sometimes people with personality disorders, such as narcissistic personality disorder, exhibit abusive behavior. In 2023, article states that people with NPD have a consistent need for admiration and attention. Gotta be a ham. A belief that they are better than everyone else or special in some way. I'll be the one saying, man, we ain't no different, man. If one of these dudes lose focus out there in that boxing ring and they don't bring their A game, they will be out working alongside of me or the cashier or the person working on the elevators or the one doing construction. Like it's nothing, like we all the same. And no matter who you are, opinions, how you perceive him and whatever, they're all the same. That's somebody's opinion, but you know when people are actually out here lying to you and pushing agendas. You know that. And the lack of empathy. It's crazy because if you got a family or you got a loved one, married, involved, serious, you know, any of these things, man, you got empathy. We just turn it off when we go online. We just can't understand, can't relate when we get online. This combination of symptoms can lead to unhealthy relationships. However, gaslighting is not always due to a mental health condition. Anyone can engage in this behavior. You know that? We got perfectly sane people who the life that they live when they're not on screen are like totally opposite to how they are when you see them or hear them online. You do know that, right? Let's act like we know that then. It's agenda, man. How to respond. And that tells you how to respond. Gathering, safety planning, when to seek help. I think this is good stuff. You know, even if you don't value anything, remember I told you this is fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. Like, yeah, you know when they said sit down and eat that spinach, and you said you ain't want it, it's like, well, you gonna get this work. You know what I'm saying? Everything healthy, like loaded, Lux. Everything healthy, man. You're getting your fruits and veggies around here. But I thought this is important because of some of the things I'm listening and hearing, and some of the people I even engage with sometimes, man. It's just a weird place out here, man. Just weird out here. It's just a weird day and time. It's weird that I have to use the word weird, but that's the only way to describe this era that we're in right now. It's peculiar. It's off. It's not natural. You know. Not practical, it's not logical. But that's the curriculum, man. And I gotta pause, I gotta stay right here for a second in this because it's important. It's important. Sorry to play around and do that, you know, just have your entertainment on, whatever. But it's like for boxing fans, man, to get what we get, to see what we see, and at the end of the day, when the boxer don't perform according to what they said, according to what they promised, they blame the fans. And you got people out pushing agendas and saying stuff and doing stuff just to be affiliated and popular with other people, and they are actually pushing us away from the big fights. They actually abandon all reason, logic, everything when it comes to their guy. It's crazy. Like, it's like, that's why I don't even like talking like about certain stuff, because it's like, man, come on, man. At the end of the day, we want to see the fights. And I'm not one of them people, oh man, you a fan of a man. It's like, man, if you like boxing and you like certain boxers, then you're a fan. Like, now I'm not a fan, man. A fan is a fanatic, and they try to get all deep. Minute you start saying that, man, just, you know what I'm saying, put your headphones on, you know, because I know with me, it starts sounding like Charlie Brown. But one of the things that I have to do at this day and time, one of the things I got to do in this day and time is I have to acknowledge and give credit where it's due. I'm one of them ones that my scorn or my resentment or my criticisms or my harsh criticisms and all that, when I'm loud about that, I'm going to be just as loud to give you your salutes, to give you your praises, to give you your, you know, your shining, like you, whatever it is you want, like as far as witnessing and recognizing and putting a voice to the fact that what you are doing now, I totally agree. Keep doing that. And I was hard on Tim Bradley. I said, man, you got, so I said, man, this man, I said, him and Andre Ward, I said that they both had, man, they doing something that a lot of people would never, ever get a chance to do. I said, but they had so much power when they was up there with Top Rank. But the things that we were hearing is like, man, we know y'all doing the company thing. It's like some of us who work for companies understand you got to do the company thing. You know, if you're not independent and you're not, you know, entrepreneurs and doing all these enterprise and things like a lot of people are claiming that they out here doing when they really, you know, doing DoorDash and stuff like that. You know, not them kind of people, the ones that be flexing and saying, oh, you doing it like this, you just now getting to this stage. Meanwhile, they still doing DoorDash and ain't no telling what else they doing. You know, out here, but they'll flex online like they really doing like big things. Really doing big things, you know what I'm saying? And it couldn't be further from the truth. Not them kind of people. The people that's actually really out here working. Really had to, you know what I'm saying, maybe had to wear a uniform or check in or clock in or do something. And at that point in time, whenever you got that uniform or doing your thing, you representing that company. I'm talking about those kind of people. So you got to have your company hat on. That's what's buttering the bread. So I was always saying, man, they had so much power, but we could always see when they was overselling or overhyping or undermining, diminishing the performance of opponents in the ring when they were sharing. It was evident. Teddy, when he broke loose, Teddy started spilling the beans. I used to do the Teddy's takes. And then, you know, not to get off course, but I used to watch the Teddy's takes. But when Teddy broke loose, Teddy started really spilling the beans. Like it was no more company. He said, I couldn't do it no more. I had to just be real. He's like, I couldn't, you know, it's like, man, like, so he was starting to give them fruits and veggies. So I always had criticisms with Andre, with not mostly with Ward, because Ward is I bet you he's a nice chess player, man. I bet you Ward is nice at chess, man. Because he was smart enough to where there was times when he just didn't agree. When he just didn't agree, he would say less. But at one point in time when I used to hear Tim, I'm like, man, Tim, like, dog, like, stop it, man. So I had some harsh criticism for him. Just like everybody else. We critique everybody else, right? We critique everything else. But can't nobody critique you and your man. No. And I was just saying, man, look, man, I respect Tim Bradley, man, as a Hall of Famer. Like, I don't look down on nobody that strap up them gloves and get in that ring and get hit in the head. I speak about it all the time. I say, man, you gotta think they get hit in the head for a living. You gotta think, man, like when this happened and this fight got pushed back, it wasn't just them, it was the undercard and all this. People say, oh no, it's like, no. When they was stalling out, when all them people were stalling out and doing all this shenanigans and playing ring around the rosies and all these things, stalling out fights, I was thinking about the fighters that could possibly be on the undercard. Because it's like, man, what are you going to do? If you ain't boxing, what are you going to do? You prone to go do something crazy. So I was condoning that. So I would say what I needed to say about Tim. The whole time I was in that vein, and I stayed consistent about them all. There was a point in time when I disagreed with Teddy. And then Teddy, you know what I'm saying, ultimately a couple, you know what I'm saying, months later, Teddy came back around and was like, nah. And I was like, okay, cool. You was trying to be cool. But I'm like, nah, man, come on, man. We knew this dude couldn't box. We knew what this one dude had when he flipped on that and then he flopped back. I was like, okay, cool. You were just doing you was trying to grow the channel a little bit for a second. Then you jump right back and then you start really speaking that real. And I still go back and listen to Teddy about certain things. I just think that he don't like boxing as much as he used to no more. And he's getting more into the UFC. You know, I'm trying to preserve the sport, so I focus more on the boxing, but I respect the UFC because I used to watch some of that too. You know what I'm saying? I used to watch it. You know, keep up, but like I'm really monogamous to boxing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not boxer monogamous, but I'm monogamous to the sport of boxing. I think I was live doing a Super Bowl or something. You know I don't care. But before I get into this, I wanna salute Tim Bradley, man. These last I would say the last month, Tim been on a roll. I'm like, man, and then I gotta salute Sean Zattel, especially for even how he brings this in, even how he ushers this in, this question or whatever. It wasn't a leading question. I like how he phrased it. He threw a nice lob. And Tim Desert Storm Bradley came in with the slammy. You know, I mean, and it is what it is. So no leading question, because I had my criticisms about Sean. I'm like, oh man, we know you're affiliated with that camp and this and this and this. And it's like, we don't really be asking these folks to act like they not affiliated. We just trying to get them to be like, look, man, like, don't do leading questions. Like when you ask a child a question and before they even give the answer, you know, a lot of parents do that with children. They'll ask a child a question and say something in the question and verbiage-wise that's going to make the child lean towards a certain answer. That's what interviewers are doing. But I'm thinking, man, Sean Zattel and Tim Bradley got something going on, man, because on the last 3 boxing situations they've been on, man, I've been agreeing with Tim almost 100%. Now I still know that, you know, Shakur is this guy. I know who he affiliated with, so yeah, but like, I appreciate the transparency. Why? And I'm not even saying it's just to legitimize what I've been saying the whole time. I'm just saying that finally, like, you could just keep it a buck. People gonna respect you because you're in the Hall of Fame. Just keep it a buck. Even if you affiliated, just keep it a buck. That's all we have been asking. And Tim and Sean. But I gotta put this up because I don't want to I give credit where credit is due. I cite my sources, whether it's an article somewhere I seen it, I'll tell you where I saw it, how I seen it, even if it's a little joke or a note or something that, you know, I'm interjecting in my own stuff. I'll tell you, I heard my man say it. I saw this on that channel. I will give credit where credit is due. And then this credit is going to Sean Zattel. But let's get into it. Let's get into it real quick. It's not long, but listen to how Sean ushered in the question and listen to what Tim Bradley said. Okay. Here we go, y'all. Listen.
We talked about a lot of this Lomachenko, Tank, Shakur situation at lightweight a few days ago, but my man Tim has some other thoughts to unpack. Tim, man, it's been a few days to kind of reflect and gather thoughts on Loma and Tank being off the table. What are some of the things that have been crossing your mind?
Well, like this word that's been used, and I touched on it earlier, like you said, duck, that he ducked. You know, I thought about it, and I'm thinking, like, you know, I was hard on Fury when the negotiations kind of fell through with Usyk. So I gotta stay, you know, neutral across the board, man. I gotta be fair across the board. You know, you want to call this a duck? It's a duck. No doubt about it. It's literally a duck. But I think it's something deeper, man. And I keep saying that, but because Loma's the type of guy that don't duck any smoke. However, when I look at him and how he's been behaving as of late, I think about the fact that this isn't one time, this is twice now. Shakur Stevenson, I believe, was a part. Well, Shakur Stevenson was a part of, Top Rank. They had Loma. Shakur wanted that fight. There was no way that Top Rank was on. I guess they couldn't. Loma said he didn't want the fight. Pretty much said it. I didn't want the fight right now. So not only did he duck Shakur, he also ducked Tank. I think Loma knows that. Again, like I tell you guys all the time, fighters, we know what we can do, what we can't do. Loma, I'm sure, and his team don't want him to go out on his shield, getting knocked out or getting embarrassed. He fought Kambosos because that he knew that was a fight that he can win, and he can win a belt. And go out on a high note. I think that this is it for Loma. I don't think Loma returns. And I only say that because this is the type of the guy that don't duck any smoke.
So, on so many different levels, it's like he said it, man. Like on so many different levels, he said exactly what it is. And the reason why this for me, the reason why I put Age Well Games at the end of this is because when Tim Bradley kept saying all this stuff about Tank, and it seemed like almost every interview he was saying this about Tank, that about Tank. I got a clip where he basically said Tank was the complete boxer. Like I don't know, man. That's why I was saying, man, you can't be bipolar with this. Like, yeah, you can change your opinion, but like when you're changing your opinion about a skill set, when fights haven't happened and boxers have shown who they are inside the ring, you can't be bipolar with it. You gotta use this. You gotta use the same scale and put them all on that same scale. You can't go wrong if you just honest about it. So when he said a couple things, and I'm like, okay, well, if Tank is the reason and it's all Tank the reason why these things wasn't happening, I was the one saying that, man, all the belts been over there on Top Rank. We knew ever since the tournament with Loma and with the tournament, well, not with Loma, with the tournament at TO, we knew since that point in time the tournament style and how they were maneuvering. And it's not something uncommon, because when you talk about the WBO, it's an acronym that they affiliate with the head of an organization. When you talk about the WBA, they talk about a figurehead that's the head or the manager of a very large organization. So the belts and the acronym, the fact that they have that, we tend to act like we don't realize that when we're talking about belts and whatever it is. We forget things. We have convenient amnesia is what I call it. But he came out and said that I said, well, how is the pressure all on Tank when he over there? He been doing the same thing with his day ones, and he's been under the same regime. It wasn't until recently, I think around the end of 2022, if I'm right, if my memory serves me correct, I guess the end of 2022 was when the GT thing really kind of took off, when it was no longer Floyd, as far as my calculations. I could be wrong. Fact check me. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not an insider. But that's why I triangulated everything to around the end of 2022 or sometime in 2022. So anything up until that, Floyd was in charge. But I'm like, they put all the pressure on Tank not being able to make the fight. And they say, oh, it's because he the A-side. But then when he do A-side things, they say, oh, man, y'all love talking that A-side. Gaslighting. So my thing was, okay, you can have all that pressure for Tank, but then again, when I say use them scales, I said, but what about the pressure for Loma for not fighting Shakur? Because I wanted Shakur to get that Loma smoke. Because contrary to popular belief, even though I keep it 10 times 10 all the way funky on Shakur, I was still one of his fans. But because I keep it a buck on him now, I'm hating on him all of a sudden. And he also said, you know, like fans like me, the ones who put everybody on the scale and have hold boxes accountable and stuff like that, that support, that'll donate, buy fights, stuff like that, attend fights if you can. Stuff like that. It was F us. I had pressure on Lomachenko. I said, where's all the pressure on Lomachenko? I know you're a company man, but like, how do you speak so liberally about Tank? Because he's over here and he's doing his own thing, and that's not under the Top Rank umbrella. How do you have such harsh criticisms for them where the company you work for, you can apply pressure. You're at liberty to speak. And I heard about the Navarrete when he said Navarrete had a contract with Shakur, and he said he never heard back. He said that live on air during the Baranchek fight. I played that, went over that video. Nobody says anything about that. Nobody says anything about that. Then we find out here recently on another source, we found out somebody else pretty much the same thing. I'm like, well, dang, everybody wasn't really ducking then, right? But that you got to do your homework, and it's almost like it ain't like you're sifting for it, but it's like if you're just paying attention, these things will pop out like the truth in real life. These things will pop out to you. I said, Tim, where's all the pressure on Lomachenko? So this video right here ties that back into what I was saying. He said, no, he said, because I got to say he did it twice. So now we getting confirmation. So now when he said what he said about Navarrete having a signed contract, but then not hearing anything about it, not hearing anything else from or whatever. When he said that live on air during the Baranchek fight, we had that. So that might not paint Shakur in the biggest light. But then he comes out and he says something like this, where he said this is the second time. So if he did walk away from this Tank fight, that's a duck. And he said, I gotta speak on it because he did it twice. And he said because he didn't want to give Shakur no opportunity. So it's people love the fact that he would actually, they don't like the fact that he said Loma duck Tank. So all the people that don't like Tank or whatever, or think that people glazing him or whatever, they're going to be, oh man, Lomachenko, Tim done lost his mind. They're going to discount him with that on some gaslighting stuff. But then they're going to worship Tim for what he said about Loma ducking Shakur. But they're going to despise when he said that Navarrete had a signed contract but never heard back. They're going to despise that. And guess how Tim's covered? Because he said the truth. It don't matter whether you agree with it or not. That's not going to make the front lines. That's not going to do nothing for your brand. If you want to have, if you want Loma to ever come on the show or sit down and interview, or, you know what I'm saying, you want to be in a circle jerk and eat footlongs with extra mayo with everybody who like him. Same thing for these fake ass Canelo fans. Same thing. These kind of things are not going to be headline material. It's not going to be something you can really build, or unless you really got some cojones, be able to maintain or sustain your channel. It's not. This is not the sexy thing to say right now. It's not. But if you do this and people really start paying attention instead of pandering to audiences and trying to, grow, it's inflation, man. Maybe you're only supposed to be so big, but you know what I'm saying? But because every time you grow, you're taking on somebody else to where, you gotta agree, or you gotta be more middle of the road. Gotta be more gray area. You do know that. When you're trying to appeal to the masses, you got to be more middle area, gray middle area, instead of actually looking and judging everything on a case-by-case basis and making it be whatever it is, judging it right and exact. So I have to applaud Tim. And then he actually explained why. And then he said, listen, we all know what's going to happen. We know what we know, man. We know. It's a lot of people that can act like they don't like it, but it's a lot of people relieved that Loma ain't gonna do that right now. people bring up his age and all that, but then they don't, you know, in the same breath, they say, but Crawford is still going. And then they say, but Loma, in one breath, they say, man, he's one of the greats because of this amateur record, which are the same people that's condoning this Madrimov stuff because of his amateur record. You know, both got what? Loma, what, 19, 20? He don't even do. Loma got 20 fights. He done ran through some people, but they say nothing when he brought people up and do all of this. And then you look at all these losses and all that stuff. I was the one saying, man, Loma was washed before Devin. But, oh, man, why you trying to do that? People say, oh, you just glazing Tank because you just hating on Loma. And he is blah. I said, no, man, Loma is washed. Devin said it himself, played his voice when he said Loma was too old and too weak. 2.5 years before they fought. I was saying he was why. I said, why are we going to give Devin credit for this now? Like, why are we going to give him credit for this? Loma looked at him and said, this man is a middleweight. And they still went in there and fought tooth and nail. And here we are a year later, now Tank ready to fight, and they saying, oh, no, you know what I'm saying? Tank waited him out in this whole 7 year, whatever. That's gaslighting. Anybody that's sitting up here telling you 7 years is gaslighting, man. They gaslighting you. They want to be down like Brandy, and they are gaslighting. You ain't been no 7 years. I just explained, and even Bob himself. Bob wasn't making no fights like that. Bob wasn't making no fights like that. People in the big analogy, everybody like used to like to use was, oh man, well, how did Wilder fight Fury and all this? It's like, man, the big money ones, they made sense, but he was not. They were not doing that. All them dudes was over there that whole time, calling Tank name out the whole time, knowing that even if he wanted to, he would have had to deal with Floyd. And Floyd knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. The proof is in the pudding. They say, oh man, Tank got this machine behind him now, and he got this, and it's like, no, man, how you gonna say that? It's like, no, he put in that sweat equity, he put in that work. He you know, they say that can't nobody get in there and fight, but when you look at him, he fights with disadvantages all the time, inherent disadvantages all the time, which he's happened to make those disadvantages advantages to him as a shorter man. Same way Tyson used to do to some extent. But the competition get discredited, all this stuff get discredited, but somehow he's done all these things and checked all these blocks, even had some checkered things in the past with legal, you know, whatevers and hiccups, some just being a, you know, a young man going through life. Had all those things, and he's come to the point to where he's worked on his weight, being in shape. Even the repercussions of what just happened was from a couple years ago. So now he's right in his prime. He has a clear-cut direction. He got up under the shadow of Floyd. And now is the time when he's actually saying, okay, cool, now it's time. Let's do this. And they say, oh, no, the man too old. I'm like, well, he been too old. But if you gave Devin credit for it last year, and this dude came back, and so he get more credit for stopping Kambosos. He get all that for stopping Kambosos, who we said caught lightning in a bottle against T.O. Caught lightning in a bottle. I don't take away from what Kambosos did. He shocked the world. And really what he did was he showed up in the championship round. Let's be honest. After that knockdown in the 10th, when T.O. looked like he was whatever, even though that knockdown phased him more than Kambosos phased him early in the fight, with that flash knockdown, Kambosos came out like a lion in them last 2 rounds. He fought with everything. He put it out on his sleeve. And he pulled it off. He shocked the world. There was lightning in a bottle. Lomachenko get all this credit for having just stopped Kambosos, and now Tank saying it's time. That man saying, nah, man, he got things to think about. You gotta get a man, like you don't have to glaze. I'm not asking you to glaze nobody. People love saying that, and then people love using the word hate. Like I keep going over this, man. Y'all, people really don't know what hate is, man. I guess that's just the easiest thing to say, but people really don't be hating on anybody, for real, for real. You can tell when somebody is hating because you can tell, you know, but But we all get online, and because of parties and affiliations and all this stuff, we'll allow somebody. I said the other day, you will allow somebody to slander somebody else that ain't your man's, and then you will prevent that same person from telling the truth about your man's. It's weird. That's why I say it's weird, man. That's all gaslighting behavior. My whole question most of the time be, can we just keep the same energy? That's all we want, man. It seemed like Tim, man, I don't know, man. I'm happy with Tim, man. I couldn't be more happy from hearing Tim. I'm hearing Andre Ward getting ready to have his own thing. And as long as Andre Ward telling the truth, it's gonna be lit. We appreciate the ones who got in there and actually did it. We appreciate the ones who got knocked down, had, been in wars, who, surprised and shocked the world. We appreciate these guys because they did it. They gladiators. They in that close-knit fraternity. We outside of civilians, we salute that. We just ask that when y'all start talking about this boxing and skills and all that, don't be agenda driven with it. You don't have no reason to. Keep it a buck like Tim been doing lately. You be fine. And maybe if you do that, you can stop some of this, all the politics and all that, and everything that gets us further away. You know why? Because if Loma actually sat down and listened to what Tim said and he took it to heart, he would have to reach down his pantalones like he had some cojones and be like, nah, man, I ain't gonna let this big fish off the line. You know what I'm saying? I am like that. I'm like that. Go ahead and give me, I got you, Tank. We gonna get it, and then you will go train and work out. And if you're gonna go out, you're gonna go out. But I'm not one of them ones that sit up here. I really don't like it when a lot of people will sit up there and they will allow somebody to get credit for something, for saying something and doing something for years and years and years, and when the truth finally come out, they won't toe the line and say what it really is. That wasn't really like that. It wasn't really like that the whole time. So I'm thinking, man, Tank can't take all the slander for supposedly ducking Lomachenko for all this time. People are still regurgitating this 7 years. He cannot take all the slander for doing that, and now when it's time. They 6 years apart? And let's not talk about the number one and number two and all these pound for pound. Let's not talk about the opponents that they're getting ready to face. Let's not talk about these opponents that they're getting ready to face. But no boxer should be able to have to take that kind of slander and all that, whatever, all that gaslighting, all them lies, all that, whatever you want to call it. And then when we find out what it really is, when it could really happen, now somebody pussyfooting out. And we don't call it like it is. I think we owe them that, man. Because when we criticize them and do all this, it's just like, hear what's going on lately, man. People have lost their mind. All of a sudden, boxing fans shouldn't expect violence when the boxer get in the ring. A boxer can tell you, man, I'm about to beat shit all down this dude's leg and then go in there and play patty cake, and we ain't supposed to say nothing. Just shut up and pay. It's like, why you think people heating up them fire sticks? When you getting top dollar, you believe you can just go in there and do whatever. It's like, you just take what I give you. Remember I gave y'all that gumball machine? Just put your quarter in there and whatever pop out the machine. Just take what I give you. Take that. Nah, man, it's some fans that saying, nah, homie. We can't walk around giving you all the praise and the glory and saying how nice you are, and then you go in there and you let up. You talk about how hard the other guy hit afterwards and stuff like that. People don't want to hear all that. They're like, nah, man, you said you was gonna stop this dude. Matter of fact, after every round, you said you was gonna stop this dude, and then you didn't do it, and then you mad at us, the fans who like violence. And now knockouts don't mean anything. Go back and ask Oshaki what his plan is going to be this time when he get in there with Conceição. Go back in there and ask Oshaki. Go sit down with Oshaki and ask Oshaki what he think now, because he clearly pulled Shakur Stevenson in that fight. Excellent defense. But because the ineffective punching of Conceição and the fact that Conceição was perceived as being the aggressor and pressing the action, they awarded that man that. Well, they about to fix that. That man about to get redemption, but I dare you. I dare you to go sit down with Oshaki Foster and ask him what will be his intentions when they get back in the ring. He ain't gonna be in there trying to be no defensive specialist. He gonna remain responsible, defensively responsible all the time, but he trying to get Buddy out of there. But it's just a lot of gaslighting right now when your guy couldn't crack an egg. You know what I'm saying? Your guy can't crack an egg. Your guy pillow fisted. Whoever your guy is, because he don't have that high knockout right. He ain't fighting like Dimitri Bivol. Dimitri Bivol ain't big on knockouts. He just boxed the shit out you. He up there. Probably right up under Shakur. They was going back and forth for a while as far as that defense, but nobody talk about that. And look at what he did to Canelo when they fought. Canelo don't even want that smoke back. But if your guy's pillow fisted and can't crack an egg, well, if some of the guys that you do like can crack an egg, do figure out how to master their opponent, make an adjustment, and then get their man out of there, now all of a sudden you meat riding somebody because of knockouts. That's gaslighting, y'all. Because the same way they'll say, if you could box like Shakur, then you would box like Shakur, like little Algieri who just say anything, man. I'm like, man, how much is that? How much are they paying you for that thing, man? You gonna let that thing cool off, Chris? Cause I don't know how much they paying you on this and that, and you just regurgitating, you just spitting out stuff, and I'm just like, I want to respect you as a guy who used to put on the gloves, but you don't sound like it because you on there talking about if you could box like Shakur, you would. No, because if you could box like Tyson and get your man out of there, if you had that power, you would use it. You know how I know? Because when you go to the gun range, you don't go in there and be like, oh man, what's the smallest thing you got in here that I can shoot? No! You like, I want to shoot that. Where that Desert let me see how this pump work. You looking for that action, man. So stop playing. Because you can sit up here and say, oh man, if you could, yes. If you had the abilities to box like Shakur, you would use those abilities when you need to. But if you had the abilities of a Tank or an Inoue or anybody, a Boots or a David Morrell or a David Benavidez, you would do that. You know, but I told you, man, it's some safety. Just like when people say defensive, they try to make this correlation with Floyd. It ain't no correlation with Floyd. You can be a defensive fighter first, a defense first fighter, but it can look totally different where you have some balance, where you have defense and offense. And you can impose your will. You can turn up. You can show, like, when it's a level, when you thinking it's levels, when somebody says levels, the average fan are not going to go back and look up CompuBox. I do it on this channel because I be trying to make sure that what my eyes saw is what CompuBox said. Every now and again, I'm like, oh, wow, really? But for the most part, yes. Not the scorecards. I do my own scoring. When I would sit down and I watch the fights, I do my own scoring. But the average fan ain't gonna sit down and pull up no CompuBox, man, and see what really going on. They're gonna be like, man, that dude was touching you. And ain't nobody gonna sit around and act like they ain't see nobody touching you. Why? Because it's gonna be pictures. And whenever somebody flip on you, they're gonna come out and tell the truth. You know how, like, my man, you know, and I agree with him. I said, man, sometimes when you hang around certain people, man, maybe you might have to have, you know, I don't know, whatever you got to do. When my man came out with that recording, people say, oh, man, it's snake behavior. Like, yeah, that is snake behavior. It is. But some people do record and keep track of things, and they will come out and speak on them when it actually benefits them, not you. So while you running around because you part of a pack trying to be affiliated, tooting your butt out for everybody so you can be a part of this and that, just remember, when they flip on you and they can no longer play the game, and they like, oh man, I'm done putting on for, I'm done, you know what I'm saying, I'm done co-signing these lies or whatever. When they finally spit the truth, depending on what kind of attention they get at that point in time, they're just going to keep spitting the truth, even if that truth happens to be about you. I knew it. This wasn't going to have nobody jumping for joy in the congregation. I knew it. But it is what it is, man. And we got to be honest about the next move too. But, you know, nowadays, if you try to say who Canelo should be fighting, oh man, you can't tell no A-side, whatever. You can't tell whatever, but everybody trying to tell Tank what he should do next. When Loma don't want to fight him. Just sit on that. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's two different conversations. So it's a lot of meat riders, you know what I'm saying, that then came out. A lot of Canelo meat riders that then came out here, and they're justifying how he can fight this and how he can fight that person. And they say, oh man, it's like, okay, well, that's why I always said, man, in today's day and time, we have to be very careful with these walking Hall of Famers, man. Because right now, all of the guys that they saying are walking Hall of Famers, like the ones that they be on, like glazing like all day, every day, they can't do no wrong, can't pick no wrong. They done revise history. They making it seem like this one guy hasn't said so many disrespectful things, and he's never been disrespectful going into a fight. But because they rock with him, ain't nobody gonna keep it 100. But guess what? Some point in time, somebody's gonna come out and tell the truth. And it's gonna be somebody probably around or close, or somebody that was done with putting on, or they got shamed or humiliated or whatever happened, because people change when success comes. The more successful they get, the more they change. They're gonna come out and spill the beans, and it's gonna be just like one of these moments where it's like, you like, what? Who said what? Coming from them, it's like, dang, you just gotta be proud and happy that they actually started telling the truth. But I'm here. I knew it wasn't gonna get everybody jumping for joy and had the congregation, you know what I'm saying, like giving in passing in their donations and all that. It's just, we gotta celebrate when people actually flip and they actually start telling the truth, man. Because if we had criticism before when they was lying, we kind of gotta support them when they telling the truth. Because it's very hard in today's day and time. It's very easy to get ostracized when that happens. It's very hard to actually make friends or good or latch on to good people. Why? Because there's so few of them. So if there's somebody out there, even if it's somebody small out there and they keep it a buck 10 times 10 and they telling the truth, support them. A like, a comment, like even the super chat with them. Or if they got their cash out, donate to them. I'll try to do it, especially if somebody do it and they have some kind of consistency. I'll try to do it, man, just because they're gonna flip. I seen so many channels flip. They started off so good, the message was so good, it's just like it was hard. Why? Because you that salmon swimming upstream. And all it takes is for one person, but you know what? I'm finally offended. I'm off. All because you told too much truth. This is the Silence is Consent channel. Fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. I told y'all. Cookie Monster. Body work. Cookie Monster laughing. It's a light one. It's a light one, man. I knew everybody. I knew a lot. This wasn't gonna get a lot of people jumping for joy. But it is what it is, man. This what you gonna get. You know, I see a couple people trying to jump in the lane that I had, as far as, you know, really breaking down the 140, the row. I just been trying to see like exactly how it's lining up, but it done changed, man. And the row ain't over. People trying to act like just like 147. 147 ain't it ain't over. It's just some new guns. It's just some new guns that whereas if you can't get them on for an interview or you can't sit down with them or you ain't, or the person that you knob don't talk about them, a lot of people ain't gonna talk about it. But 147, it's some viable fights at 147. Oh, and the last thing, this big push, I'm gonna tell y'all where this big push, and I'm probably gonna get out of here after this. This big push for Boots to all of a sudden move at 54, I've been saying this. I said this back when I knew he wasn't gonna get the Spence fight, you know, in the Bud fight. I went back when I realized he wasn't gonna do that. I said, man, he should go ahead and move to 54. People, oh nah, why? Man, you just saying that because, you know, this whatever reason they put in. Whatever reason they put in. Insert whatever reason. I was saying, man, he should get ahead of it. Almost kind of like how Virgil did. You know what I'm saying? Virgil, and I don't think it was Virgil's choice. I think his body, you know what I'm saying, told him. I had been saying, but then I started looking at it here recently, and I was like, man, he fight for the IBF. He don't balloon up in weight. I mean, as long as he's defending it and he's not, if he's unifying, then it don't apply. But if he's actually defending it, or, you know, he still got to abide by that. And as long as he's abiding by that and he's staying within that 10, it's easy to say he a big guy, he just cutting down. Well, Boots really, Boots is what, 26, 27? He might grow a little bit more, but like for the most part, he's decided he's about the size he's going to be. He might have a little baby growth spurt after this, but he about the size. And if he's still doing it under the IBF, which is so underappreciated, the fact that somebody fights under the IBF when they have to endure the rehydration. So fighters who fight under that, you got to give them a little bit more credit, because why? They have to be more physically disciplined. They have to be more physically disciplined going for that IBF. As long as he's able to do that, it ain't no need to run. Why? Because he's not going to get the fight that everybody want, which is really Bud and Boots. Now that they think Spence is out the way, and ultimately, depending on how Spence do at 54, they might want to see that. Boots said he'll go to 54. That's a new weight class. He might get a Spence fight. You don't know, but that'll be at 54. But at 47. I would say, yeah, because now you got some young guns there. Everybody's aiming for Mario Barrios. They pick and choose whether or not they want to believe whether or not Mario Barrios is credible. Because just like Ryan, he wasn't credible when Tank fought him, but he's credible for everybody else, and it's okay for everybody else to call out his name and fight him. Almost just like Pitbull. Because a lot of people really wasn't wanting it, but like now, you know what I'm saying, we don't know. But I'm thinking, why would you go up there now anyway? Because they're just gonna treat you the same way when you get up there. Oh man, what have you done? They're gonna say, what did you do at 54? So just like a lot of people who sat there and waited in that Canelo line, and now in their careers then took crazy paths because they sat in that line instead of like really creating their own thing outside of that. That's what I was trying to tell Devin. Create your own lane without saying Tank name, and you know, we see what happened when he fought one of Tank's leftovers. Got knocked on his ass bag, and it was sad. Because he got dropped like a trash can bag, man. It was controversial because, you know, Ryan did it. He did him dirty, you know, but create your own legacy by going after your own. And I think Boots is realizing probably the same thing that David Benavidez is realizing. I'm never going to get that fight. I might as well go ahead and solidify mine. They try to say that, oh, now, did he really want to fight Bud? Because now he's saying he want to stay at 47. They flip-flop. They wishy-washy with that. So I think that now Boots should do Brian Norman. He should get and Montes Stanyanis. So for me, it'll be, okay, if you need one more, okay, do one more, and then Brian Norman. Do another one, and then do Stanyanis, and let them get, you know what I'm saying, their paydays or whatever, and let's see how that all mix up. You get your undisputed. Now, when you move up to 54, everybody has to respect what you did. You won't be living in the shadows. You won't get the benefit of all the Bud only fans saying, oh man, you don't really want to fight him. He got out of line, and all this stuff that they failed to mention back then. But the real push for him to go to 54, this is the real push. Because, for one, if he do it, then the excuse of not being in the same weight class is going to be over for anybody at that weight class. It's going to be over. So now we in the same weight class. It's almost like the same thing that when Shakur moved up and he was like, "Hey, Devin, holla at me." He's like, "Ain't no excuse now because we done caught up. We in the same." So how much can you say? They both saying we bad boys without playing all this resume. You know what I'm saying? X-ray resume chop up that people do. But 1 minute the resume don't mean something. Next minute amateurs mean something. All the goalposts, depending on who you with, what tribe you with, what you affiliated with, depending on what y'all handbook say, then whatever y'all code say that y'all stand on, whatever that. Aside from all of that, they're gonna play that game with you. The other thing is, Devin Haney's gonna have to come back, and when he come back, at a minimum, it's gonna be at 47. Boots need to stay right where he at. Right where he at. Right where he at. He'll make his own name. He already got the fights. He already got the experience. For a lot of people, he passes the eye test. You know what I'm saying? But for now, yeah. While his body is still, and I don't think it's going to be to where he can't make the weight. It's just going to be to where he's going to move up. When he go to 54, he'll be even more comfortable. He won't have to cut. He won't have to, you know what I'm saying, worry about that as much. He would have shown that he's disciplined. And when he get to 54, he'll have the resume to where you ain't going to be able to say, "Oh, man, this guy, he's so overhyped." People don't know because we haven't seen him fight. I say the same thing about Devin. We haven't really seen him when he against somebody where he doesn't have all of the advantages. So to a certain extent, we can the eye test, check. But everything we see, check. He looking like check. We haven't seen him fight anybody where he doesn't have the majority of the disadvantages. The same scale I put Devin on. We didn't see him. I said Ryan gonna be the first time where he don't have the height and the reach on somebody, and he definitely don't have the speed and the power. He probably gonna be in trouble. And if you look at my bet, I put my money where my mouth was. I bet the stoppage, KO or stoppage, and thanks to the ref, I didn't get it, but I would have got paid. I don't know what they would have did once they found out the Ostarine and however you want to look at that in whatever angle you want to look at. I don't know what would have happened, but I would have got paid. It wasn't one of these people out here just slipping the Kool-Aid or playing the race card on it, saying, "Oh, we got to stick together." It's like, no, man, boxing is boxing, man. I was talking to one of my coworkers last week. Man, and he said, man, when it comes to boxing, he said, man, one of the most infuriating things that he hears sometimes when people just up and just choose to use that card in boxing. He said, man, because boxing is the ultimate litmus test. Unless you're talking about coming down the scorecards and, you know, because you got to think, somebody scored that Canelo versus Floyd Mayweather fight a draw. Like, unless you coming down the scorecards and shenanigans that happen on scorecards, boxing is the true litmus test to where it don't matter if you this complexion, it don't matter. If you can do what you need to do with these, it's gonna show up. It's gonna show itself. So that's a card that we don't need to play. We play it outside the ring because we be trying to protect this guy and we go overboard on that guy. We don't, you know, we underestimate this one. We don't keep the same energy about them all. So that's what the boxing talk. That's why boxing YouTube is totally different than what's actually happening inside the ring. And this channel is really focused on what's going on inside the ring, and it works its way out. So when I do less of the gossip and all that other stuff and all the opinionated stuff, I try to stick more to the facts of the matter and try to create timelines and put stakes in the ground so people can look back and say, oh, somebody was actually keeping it a buck at that point in time about that situation. It just is what it is. But it's a duck, man. And I'm at a point in time right now where, like, I'll tell you to the end of time, like, I don't care who Tank fight right now. I don't care. I've come to a point where I don't even care no more. I used to. I don't even care no more. Because the goalpost is always going to be different for him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to see the Shakur stuff, but I'm like, Shakur ain't going to be able to ace out or by default or by whatever scheme, scam, whatever they got going on over there at Top Rank with all the belts and all the control. He ain't going to be able to do that when, if Shakur really won that fight, he wouldn't have to go back with Top Rank to do it. He'll just have to sit down with Tank and get it done. Because he's free. He's free. So that's really a bluff in itself. So if Tank and Shakur happen to go down, then it would have to be if Shakur broke out of Top Rank. If he broke out of Top Rank, he sat down with Tank as his own man, whatever it is, Shakur Promotions, or whatever the name of the promotional company is. It'd be Shakur Promotions and Javante Tank Davis Promotions, and they'll do it like that. That's the only way that I'll even be like, yep, that can happen. But I'm not gonna be like one of these, fake ass fans that's gonna move the goalpost now because Loma ducked. Now Tank gotta go do some shit that Shakur did, and Shakur don't even care whether or not the fans are pleased. So I'm not gonna push that. I would love to see the fight. If it's anywhere, if I'm able to go to it, if it's somewhere where I can actually go to it and I can make a way to get in there, yeah, I will go it. If it comes up and they say, hey, you get on this night, it's pay-per-view, sign me up. I'll support it. I'm not gonna be one of these dumbass fans that's out here pushing it like Tank gotta do this and that. Because right now, you gotta think. If it's right what they're saying, if Canelo did just fight Jaime Munguia and basically carried him, because he could have put him out as lights, but he had so much respect for him, he didn't want to dim his light bulb. And why? So that Jaime Munguia can go on and do bigger and better things. He spared him. But if he can go fight Jaime Munguia and then turn around and fight Edgar Berlanga, and shout out to Edgar, man, because that's an opportunity in a lifetime. Shout out. Salute for getting that bag. But if he's able to do that now, and if Buzz able to move to avoid, he was going to fight Tim Tszyu, who got his belt the same way that Boots got his belt. Nobody talk about that. If he was going to fight him, but then he don't want to fight Boots, who everybody wanted to see, and he's saying he's chasing Canelo, he changed his mind on Mel, because that's the fight that really should happen at 54. Bud and Mel. We don't know what's going on with Mel, but according to the schedule, that's what should have happened. That didn't happen. He's going to pursue Canelo, and he's able to pick this guy, Madrimov, with 11 fights, having fought one of the guys twice, having a draw on his record, and it's all based on his amateur experience. I don't care who Tank fight. I don't care. The standards and oh man, he doing it because he got a belt and he want to be undisputed. Okay, cool. If that's how you get down and that's how you see it and that's how you perceive everything, cool. So you can like Bud and his skill set and what he brings to the ring on fight night, which when this fight is on, I'm gonna watch. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate to see the skill in the ring. But when he step outside and all that politics and shit, that's why I get off. That's why I leave all that other stuff to his OnlyFans, the ones who don't see none of the bullshit, none of it. So I don't really care. I don't really care, man. That's where I'm at right now. I just hope that, in order for this ascension to keep going, it got to be somebody of whatever, because everybody was about to jump out the window for Conor Ben. But they so adamant about Ryan being suspended forever. But it's cool if Tank would have fought Conor Ben. It's like y'all don't keep the same energy about this cheating stuff either. That's why I say I don't care who it is. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at now. But that was a duck. I'm proud of Tim. I hope Tim and Sean, I hope they continue to do their thing, man. If that's the place where you can keep it a buck and then, you be the company man up there. Even though you broke out in that Baranchek fight and here lately when I've been listening. It ain't been so one-sided. It's been pretty much down the middle. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely been more palatable. to listen to here lately. And this stuff that you and Tim and Sean got going on, with Tim pretty much coming out saying, listen, man, this is what it is. And he just being, you know, off work. Tim, who probably just got off, had a good meal, and just want to kick back and talk some boxing. I like that. And if Andre Ward is anything like that, if his show gonna be anything like that, like what Jatel and Bradley got, oh, it's gonna do numbers. It's gonna be jumping like Jordan. And he can set the tone for how boxing should be talked about. Especially if it can be centered more towards, he can use his affiliations, but it be really catered towards everybody else too, not just the ones they're affiliated with. That way you don't get the inherent biases. Because when it's somebody you rock with, it's gonna be inherent biases. Period. But I just thought I'd put this out there, man. This is them fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. Remember, this is fact-based content, not opinion-based. Remember that. You know, this is the stuff. I try to be the same person that you see outside, the one that you would be at work with, the one who, if we was on a cruise or in the casino sitting next to this, I'm the same guy. That's gonna be me. You know what I'm saying? Same everywhere I go, same. Online, whether I'm in the comment section, whether I'm chatting, back and forth, using my thumbs, being a Twitterson. If I'm just on there just being a Twitterson, it's still gonna be me. The same guy that you're hearing right now, these same logical thoughts and views and opinions, it's gonna be the same thing. It's not gonna change. I don't have to worry about putting this mask on and putting that mask on and catering to this person and, oh man, I don't want to offend that one. I can't no. Same. The same. And I was inspired by Tim, man, for actually, man, he been on it, man. He been on a roll. He been on a roll. And it really wouldn't profit him anything, but other than the fact that it might have swayed his conscience and allowed him to be able to just be like, man, I'm speaking it real. I'm just telling the truth. He don't gain anything from it. Those videos ain't jumping like Jordan and doing all kind of foot. They ain't doing no crazy numbers. They're not doing them OJ numbers. So it got to be about something, because the one that's doing the OJ numbers and all that, that's always some fiction. It's fiction and opinion. Just smeared and scattered and narrative driven and all. It's just, that's what it is. People don't like the truth, man. We can see it in everything. If people like the truth, there'll be more reality type movies and things like that, like real reality, than fiction based. If people really like the truth, think about it. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot the messenger. It ain't on me, man. I do that body work. You know what I'm saying? That's all I know what to do, man. Ever since I seen Roy hit that man to the body like that, man, he ain't throw no punches. He hit that man one time to the body and it was over. I said, body work. That's all I know, man. That's all I know. But I knew the congregation wasn't gonna be jumping for joy. You know, I knew it was gonna be a lot of nomads just passing through seeing it. But feel free to holler at me in my comment section, man. Talk to me, I'll talk back, man. And remember, if you wanna act like a troll, then be prepared to be treated like one. You got good common sense and you just disagree with your good common sense. Well, let's chop it up. Anyways, y'all, that's all I had. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. When we don't take things for face value, we do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.